Hey, welcome to Easy Painting. I'm your host and artist, Bobby Meserol, and we're here today to show you another great episode of step-by-step painting, and we're using acrylics on this particular series. And also, just want to let you know the last part that we did was part 2 of the mountain painting. We're going to come back with Corinne and show you how to do like the borders and match up like the woodwork and the framing involved in framing your painting and using matte finishes and stuff like that. But I thought we'd start off doing another little painting today. And what I did was I kind of preloaded my brush. I have a 2-inch brush that I'm going to start out with. It's called the background brush, and I'm going to be using that to kind of lay in the background, the sky and the blue with the sky. So let's get started. So what I did was I'm just going to wet my brush a little bit, and I want to just kind of wet the canvas. And I'm just starting up on the top. I'm just going to wet the top first because that's where I'm going to be working. This is going to be a 2-parter. So we're going to start with layers of paint on the top and then work our way down. And we're just going to put in a nice little easy sky today. And just kind of get a little wet, maybe just a little bit more water. Yeah, that's good. You don't want to make it too wet because what happens is when you make it wet, it starts to get like almost like watercolors. It gets a little too loose. So if it's a little too wet, just take a brush and dry the brush and then go back over it, and it should get back to shape again. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my palette and I'm going to fully load my brush, and I'm going to get a lot of white, titanium white on there, and I'm going to use that to kind of load the background with the white. So I'm going to come back up. I'm going to start right where I started on the top. And just do a little crisscross strokes. I'm going to go straight across and add this white to the background. That's going to mix with the colors that I put on there. And I just want to know, and this is a wet on wet technique. It's used so we can spread the paint out easier. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my palette again, and I'm going to get some blue. I'm going to load that up, fully load that, and I'm going to go back to the canvas. I'm going to start up in the corner, little crisscross strokes. I'm going to add a nice little sky. And I'm not going to reload my brush this time. I'm just going to kind of go along and let the paint mix with the blue, and I'm going to have a nice, bright, baby blue sky. And just little crisscross strokes. I'm going to go back and forth until I feel that I'm comfortable with the color that I like. Then kind of just go back and just smooth it all out, blend it all out. And any harsh strokes that you might want to take away, this is a good opportunity to just kind of blend it out. I'm going to just go right down to the horizon line. The horizon line is what separates the sky from the land. And I'm going to stop right about there. Okay. I'm going to go back to my palette. I'm going to get some more white. And I'm just going to add some little bits of white to the sky. Here and there, kind of open it up, make it look like maybe there's a little bit of clouds in the background, but nothing too crazy. I'm going to pop a little mountain up in there, so. And that's about as light as I'm going to make it. Maybe I'll add just a little bit of color, a little more blue to the corners. Darken the corners just a little bit. That creates a little bit more of an atmospheric look to to the sky. A little hair there, so all I just do is take the corner of the brush and just pop it out. I'll blend that away. All right, let me grab another brush. I'm going to grab a fan brush now. Now the fan brush is great for creating little clouds and stuff like that. So I might just pop just a couple little clouds in there. I'm going to be mainly working on a mountain today, so I don't really want to spend a lot of time with the sky just yet. So I'm going to go to my palette, and I'm going to just load up the brush a little bit and get some white on there. I'm using mostly the corners of the brush, so those are the parts of the brush that I want to load up, get them nice and loaded. Going to go back up to the sky, and I'm just going to tap in a couple little shapes, clouds that might be in there. And I'm kind of avoiding the middle part because I'm going to be putting a little mountain in there. And you know me, I love doing mountain scenes. Living on Long Island, you don't really get to see them too often, so it's nice to paint them. And the great sellers out here, because people don't really see mountains if they're not from around a mountainous region. So these are nice little scenes for people out here to enjoy. Might pop in a little one over here. And as I come down closer to the horizon line, I'm going to make my clouds just a little bit smaller. And you cut into it a little bit, just vertically, just take the brush and cut some little floaters that might be going around there. Stratospheric looking. And maybe just cut a little into the canvas. All right, when I'm done with the fan brush, I'm going to go and grab my palette knife, and I'm going to go to the palette again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some blue. I'm going to add just a little bit of burnt umber to it, darken it up a little bit, and a little more blue. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of white to lighten it up. So that'll be my background mountain mixture. And as you can see, I've got a nice flat surface of paint that I'm going to lay out on the palette. I'm going to take my knife, I'm just going to cut into it and get a nice little bead right on the knife. All right, so let's go up to the canvas. And maybe we can get a close-up on this. I'm just going to kind of go up a little higher above where the clouds are. And I'll just start to put in like a little bit of a shape in the sky. Keep in mind, I want to keep reloading my knife as I go along. And kind of just take your brush and kind of your knife and kind of just pull down straight, and that'll create that front ridge to the mountain. I'll also hold the knife up this way, and I'll come down this way, and that's going to put on the other side of the mountain coming down the other way. Like that. And maybe I'll put a couple little peaks over here. Nothing too crazy. Just a couple little guys kind of meeting together right there. Maybe another one right there. These strokes I'm going to come straight down, so I'm going to pull the knife down this way because that's going to be the front part of the mountain. Maybe just add a little corner right there. This is kind of way off in the distance, so I'm making the background color of the mountain kind of on the lighter side. And just kind of fix up the edges a little bit. All right, I'm going to grab another brush. I'm going to grab my, this is a flat bristle brush called the Bright. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to kind of blend out the strokes in the mountain and map my area out. So I'm just going to start on the one edge. And we get a close up on that. You can see that I'm just blending it straight down and back into the background. This part's going to come out forward, so my strokes will be going forward. These two meet, so I kind of blend a little valley in there. And these are little ideas and stories you plot in your head as you go along. Pull straight down. And then I'll kind of just blend it out a little bit on the bottom. Same thing over here. These peaks kind of meet. And I kind of pull that straight forward. There's like a little valley in between these two peaks, and then straight out. Then I'll just kind of randomly blend the bottom of the mountain just a little bit. All right, what I'm going to do is go back to my palette, grab my palette knife. Now I'm going to put on some snow. So I want a nice clean palette knife. So I'm going to go to just some clean white. And I'm going to flatten it out. And I'll just drag up a nice bead of white paint. So I'm going to come back up to the mountain, and I'm lightly just holding the knife so that I kind of hold it with the 4 fingers and the thumb. And I just kind of go up to the top of the peak. I let the paint touch the top of the peak. I'm going to go over it a little bit, and then I'm going to pull straight down. And that creates that little bit of snow on top of the mountain. I'll reload again. I'll hit the next peak, the highest peak there. And I'm letting the paint break up so you can see some of the mountain through the white. I'll go over here, pull some of that down. And now I can kind of just play with it a little bit and drag it down. And go over to this peak. Then I have one more peak over here. And that's it. Now in between the two valleys, I might just pull a little bit of the snow in, create like a little canyon in between the peaks. Drag it down a little bit. I just kind of take my knife and kind of cut into the canvas a little bit, and that creates those little valleys and stuff going on between the peaks there. Going to go to my palette again, and I'm just going to highlight that background color that I used, which was the blue and the brown. That's going to be my shadow color. I'm only going to use a little bit of this, and I'm going to spread that out again and pull up a nice bead on my knife. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the mountain, and now I'm going to hold my knife up a little higher and just kind of pull down some of that shadow color in there. And I'll just work on the mountain just a little bit and get the little bit of highlight color up there. Now if it's not showing, add just a little bit of darkness to it, and you can kind of fix these peaks a little bit in between, darken them up a little bit. And this is a real easy way to pop in a nice little fun mountain. And your friends will be very impressed. I think you spent hours on it. And of course, that'll be our little secret. We won't tell them that it only took 30 minutes. All right. So I think I'm pretty good with that. I'm going to put the knife down for a second. I'm going to grab a 1-inch brush, and I'm just going to go into my white again. And I'm going to create a little mist around the base of the mountain. So I'm going to take my my 1-inch brush, and I'll create just a little bit of a mist underneath the mountain.